What better place to shoot a video about the life of JFK than where he died on November 22nd, 1963. On that fateful day, his motorcade came along right between these two buildings, approaching Dealey Plaza, making a right on Houston Road. Now, from Houston Street, you don't have a very clear view of anything from the Daltex building, even though Jim Garrison, the attorney from New Orleans, he really alleges that there are probably at least one sniper team, a sniper and a watcher in that building, as well as the fateful floor on the 6th floor of the school book depository. Now, he bases this theory off of the idea that from that room up there, you would have a very clear view onto Houston Street as Kennedy's coming along, but he didn't take it. He waited until it was in they called it the kill zone, right on this road. Now, why wouldn't Oswald have shot down to Houston Street? Why'd he shoot on to Elm Street? Well, whatever the case, the bullet came from here, and the first shot was right along these X's. And then you approach down to here, and the fatal shot was right there. And that's the pedestal from which Abraham Zapruder actually shot the footage. And you can see a lot of people back here, and I'm in the JFK Facebook groups. There's folks who make it their entire lives to try to identify every person in that grainy 1963 photograph and the old film from the Zapruder footage. And man, you see one guy with wispy hair, and he could be anybody. On the western side of the school book depository, we have here a legend in JFK conspiracy circles, and that is Lee Bowers's guard post. This is a 2-story guard post from which you could see the entire parking lot, but because he was on duty, he couldn't really see JFK. However, when the shots rang out, he claimed that he had heard 3 shots, either from the overpass where the bridge crosses over the road, or from this concrete sort of monument that overlooks Dealey Plaza. And of course, if there were 3 shots that came from here instead of from up there, that would imply there were multiple shooters. And of course, I'm gonna walk right over here, and if there were 3 shots from over here, look what angle they would have. And I should talk a little bit about Lee Bowers. He was very open with hearing those multiple shots from the Grassy Knoll. And in 1966, according to legend, he was killed as his car hit a concrete abutment in Midlothian, Texas. It was a 1-car collision, and it killed him instantly. And you can hear these guys over here talking about Lee Bowers. I think it's very interesting what an industry this kind of tourism has become. Now, of course, Lee Bowers, from his angle and from his perspective, he thought that these shots either came from the overpass or from the Grassy Knoll. The Grassy Knoll is right here. Now, you can still see a bunch of graffiti on here. I always love showing it. And the wooden fence overlooking the Grassy Knoll is one of the pilgrimage spots you gotta make if you're a conspiracy theorist. You can see here a map of Dealey Plaza, which shows Jim Garrison's theory that there was a sniper nest up in the Daltex building, up in the depository, and at the Grassy Knoll. But if you look over here, you can see these guys disagreeing with each other literally right here. I love this one. Fatal shot, sewer across the street, right in front of this board. Because there are theories promoted by X-Files that the fatal shot was fired from there. And then you've got more. You should always trust the government. They never lie. Oh, Khrushchev was here. I like that one. Fatal shot was here. Some people think that they actually fired from this fence, but I don't think so. I think it was probably from the hill over to the left if it did get fired from here. I like just a plain and simple fuck the government. It was Badge Man. Check out the doc, Men Who Killed JFK. Badge Man was another guy. You've got a very mysterious man with a badge who was acting strangely over here. Fear the Williams, who was Umbrella Man. Again, there was a Badge Man, there was an Umbrella Man as well, who kind of just sat down calmly on the curb and opened an umbrella on a sunny day, almost as a signal.
Anyway, that's the story of Woody. He's got fake ears and a fake nose on there. A heck of a nice guy. Rob Riley, who grew up with.
And I'm surprised at the number of trains that come through here, but there's an author right over there who was a consultant for the '91 film by Oliver Stone. And he said that it was Lee Bowers that claimed, or at least that, well, there were many people who saw the three tramps, but they had gotten off of the train and had been arrested under fake names and kept in the county records building, which at the time I believe the upstairs portion of that was the jail. And they weren't able to prove who they were, and when both Oswald and JFK were in the ground, they let them go. And the conspiracy is that Woody Harrelson's father, Hitman Harrelson, could have been one of them. And he claims, this author over there, that Woody told him that his dad never fired a shot, but that he was there that day. And that would kind of back up Jim Garrison's theories that there were multiple backup people, and the whole narrative of the movie of not even the shooters know who fired the shot. And that's the author, Marshall Evans, JFK: The Reckoning. One of the hotly debated conspiratorial angles of this is why Kennedy's head slammed backwards if Oswald was firing from behind him. Shot comes down and his head slams back. And a lot of conspiracy theorists will say that someone fired from around where I'm standing on the grassy knoll, and that caused his head to slam backwards. Now, of course, there are discrepancies in the autopsy photos. They all kind of look altered. There was a piece of his skull found where that lamppost is now, about 2 inches wide, and then that doesn't show up in the autopsy, so they say that the autopsy photo was altered to make it look like he hadn't been shot from this grassy knoll. But in reality, if you shoot somebody from behind, you have a chance at the bullet deflecting, altering its angle, and basically it's very grim and morbid, but your head, the hole in the front of it, will just explosively discharge and slam back. And also, people say that the Carcano rifle is, they called it the Peacemaker's rifle, or the Merciful rifle, because the bullet notoriously tumbled and wasn't very accurate. However, that's bullets that were produced in America. The Carcano was Italian, and if you ordered surplus with ammo from Italy, that fraction of a millimeter would make it just as accurate as any other rifle. And again, forensic, weapons experts, they said if you're shooting a gun, you only need to shoot maybe 6 bullets if you're trained. And Oswald was in the Marines, and I've known Marines. They say you shoot until you shoot marksman. There is no non-marksman qualified Marine. He knew how to calibrate his gun, he knew the ins and outs of it, and he was able to shoot. Now, I do think there were multiple shooters, but I think that Oswald fired from up there, and much like the JFK movie, not even the shooter knew who had shot him.
Hey, look on this side.
And this is the classic angle of the school book depository. And you can see, second from the top, the open window is where they say Oswald fired his shots down and killed JFK as he came down along Elm Street. And during the movie JFK, 1991, they kind of posited that the Daltex building, which is where Zapruder actually had an office, could have been used as a secondary post to shoot him as he approached from Houston Street. But really, it's kind of a false angle, because if you look directly back from here in line with this building, they would not have a clear angle at him until he made the left-hand turn here at Elm Street. So they called it a turkey shoot, but in reality, it was shooting fish in a very two-dimensional barrel. You can only really fire the shot as you came down from here. The only question that remains is, from the depository, why didn't Oswald shoot him as he approached? And I think the reason being, you have the longest stretch of road after you've already turned left. Oswald, if he started shooting from this angle, right as Kennedy was approaching from this road, he could have turned left, he could have turned right, he could have kept going straight, and 2 out of those 3 choices would have put him out of range of Oswald's sniper fire.